Ryota Sakamoto does not have a job and resides with his mother, his sole significant accomplishment being that he holds the title of Japan's leading player of the well-known online video game Tomb. Nevertheless, his tranquil existence is on the brink of transformation as he discovers himself isolated on an island in the middle of nowhere, with a tiny green crystal lodged in his left hand and no recollection of how he arrived there. To his astonishment, someone has chosen to bring the game he loves into reality, with the consequences being a matter of life or death. The episode begins with an online game of Tomb, featuring a team of players in red armor versus a player in silver armor. The silver-armored player is cleverly ambushed by a player dressed in red armor, resulting in an explosion from a bomb that secures the latter's victory. The message "Your team win" appears, and the scene shifts to Ryota Sakamoto, who is seated in front of a computer, having executed the ambush. Following this success, Sakamoto gains 4 stars, improving his global ranking in the Tomb game from 11th to 10th. He and his teammates are then confronted by the player currently ranked 2nd worldwide. Sakamoto explains that Tomb is a game that has achieved worldwide sales of 3 million copies, where bombs are the only weapons utilized. There are 8 different types of these bombs, commonly known as BIMs. He shares that within the online realm of Tomb, he found happiness, having married someone in-game and being regarded as one of the strongest and most respected players by others. The scene transitions to a forest, where Sakamoto is suspended from a tree branch by a parachute. He frees himself from the parachute gear and falls to the ground, feeling disoriented as he struggles to recall how he ended up in the forest. The area offers no mobile phone signal, and he expresses his fear upon discovering an IC chip implanted in his left hand. Sakamoto then steps on his bag, retrieves it along with a white hip pouch, and begins to navigate his way out of the forest. After stumbling while trying to escape from insects, he unexpectedly finds himself at a beach. A flashback ensues, depicting Sakamoto in a fit of anger directed at his mother for attempting to secure him a job at a grocery store. Once Sakamoto exits the grocery store, he is approached by 2 men dressed in black suits. Back at the beach, Sakamoto becomes aware that his memories are slowly coming back, but only in a vague manner. He redirects his attention to the white hip pouch, taking out one of the cubes that was inside the pouch. He presses a button on the cube, initiating a countdown. He throws the cube away from himself before the countdown completes, realizing at that moment that the cubes are indeed bombs, BIMs. He decides to abandon the BIMs when a man approaches him whom Sakamoto wrongly assumes is a friendly individual. The man hurls a BIM at Sakamoto, resulting in him being thrown clear from the explosion of the BIM. As he rises, Sakamoto concludes that he now must engage in a real-life version of Tomb, and he grabs his white pouch filled with the BIMs as he flees into the forest, eventually reaching a cliff edge. The man persists in chasing Sakamoto, throwing BIMs at him. Sakamoto starts to fight back, tossing his own BIMs at the man, but fails twice since he is unaware that his BIMs are timer BIMs. He then confronts the man, posing questions about the use of BIMs, the IC chip, and why he is under attack. This prompts laughter from the man, who declines to respond to Sakamoto's inquiries and throws another BIM at him. Sakamoto escapes and attempts to surrender, but is unsuccessful. While hiding in the bushes, Sakamoto learns that the IC chip functions as a radar, rendering hiding useless. He also realizes that his BIMs will explode only when the countdown on them reaches 0, unlike his opponent's BIMs, which are crackers and will detonate upon impact. After some thought, the man chooses to throw 2 cracker BIMs at once, targeting the bushes and the rock crevice, as he cannot determine Sakamoto's position. However, just before the man can launch his BIMs, Sakamoto shouts and dashes towards the cliff edge from his hiding spot before leaping off. The man follows and stands at the cliff's edge, calling Sakamoto a fool. As Sakamoto swims away, he begins a countdown, revealing that he had planted one of his timer BIMs at the cliff's edge before he jumped. As the countdown hits 0, an explosion occurs, killing the man. Upon seeing the man's body sinking beneath the waves, Sakamoto is horrified and tries to rationalize his actions as self-defense while returning to shore. He then notices the man's BIM pouches that have washed ashore and concludes that he must take them to persist in this real-life game of Tomb.
The crowd cheers for Ryota Sakamoto and his team's recent victories, and Himiko admires Ryota's impressive skills. Ryota notices Himiko alone and inquires if she is waiting for someone. He offers to play with her, but Himiko declines the invitation. Ryota's teammates playfully tease him, but Ryota succeeds in persuading Himiko to join them. In a flashback, Miho tells Himiko that her brothers monopolize the games, and Miho comments to Himiko that everyone is in awe of her appealing features. Himiko responds by saying that she possesses those traits. Himiko talks to Miho about Ryota, whom she recently met online. As they prepare for their cosplay photo, Himiko mentions that Ryota feels like an older brother to her. In the booth, the two girls smile in their Bitum costumes while their picture is taken. On the streets, Miho playfully nudges Himiko and urges her to send the photo to Ryota. At school, Himiko narrates that she is just an ordinary high school girl from another country until that incident took place. Back at the beach, she discovers bombs in her bag and questions whether she must kill to escape. She finds a shaded spot to take a brief rest. Rewinding to Himiko's past, Miho shows some chain letters that inquire if the recipient has anyone they wish to eliminate. Her friends mention that some individuals have gone missing, and Arisa jokes that they should submit a name to win cash. At the beach, Himiko is startled to see some men approaching her. Isamu Kondo invites her to join their group. Later, the boys are eating fish when Masashi Miyamoto suggests they might need to compete in the game to escape the island. Isamu agrees that they should collaborate. Masashi tells Isamu to be quiet and calls him a hypocrite. And when Isamu reminds him that he is a judo teacher, Masashi seizes Himiko. Holding a bim, Masashi asks Isamu whether he intends to do the right thing by allowing him to kill Isamu, or become a hypocrite by taking the lives of both Himiko and himself. Himiko stuns Masashi to break free. Mitsuo Akechi tries to de-escalate the situation by suggesting they choose a leader, dropping his BIM bag in the process. When the two men ask Akechi who the leader will be, Akechi answers that it will be Himiko. Everyone consents and discards their bags. Upon noticing an airplane overhead, the group finds a briefcase from which they take food. Isamu arrives and advises them to divide the food into small portions to avoid waste. Suddenly, Masashi slashes Isamu's throat from behind, splattering blood onto a shocked Himiko. On the streets, Miho is thrilled that Himiko is inviting them to meet Yoshioka. After encountering Yoshioka's band, Himiko leaves her friends to get some food. Back on the island, Akechi requests Himiko to accompany him. He urges her to take all the food and bim. In the forest, Akechi and Himiko pause for a break, and then Akechi unintentionally activates the radar. He detects Masashi, who is chasing after them, and as they flee, Akechi explains to her how to operate the radar. Upon reaching the bridge, Himiko tells Akechi to hurry, but Akechi is too frightened. Then, Masashi questions Akechi about how he was detected. Akechi is taken aback that Masashi is unaware of radar. When Masashi attempts to charge at Akechi, Akechi throws his BIM, which destroys the surrounding foliage. While on the run, Akechi encourages Himiko to kill to survive, and when Akechi refuses to release Himiko's hands, Himiko punches Akechi after experiencing a terrifying flashback of Yoshioka. Akechi grips Himiko tightly until she stuns Akechi with her taser. At the house, Himiko finds her friends all beaten and their clothes in disarray. Yoshioka tries to kiss Himiko, but she punches him to escape. Down the dimly lit hallways, she hears Miho being beaten by a man. She watches in horror as her friend is dragged away. She kicks Yoshioka to break free. Himiko escapes the scene to call the police. Later, Miho shouts at Himiko that she wishes for her to disappear. Back on the island, Himiko contemplates whether this is her punishment. She sees Akechi above her. Akechi jumps down and knocks Himiko and her taser to the ground. With Himiko's defenses lowered, he pins and straddles her, tearing open her shirt. Akechi prepares to undo his pants while mentioning that it's alright since Himiko no longer resists him. Himiko activates a timer BIM. She thinks to herself that she would rather die than lose her virginity. Akechi quickly runs away, and Himiko throws the BIM at Akechi, whose body tumbles into the river. By the waterfall, Himiko reflects that all men are her enemies when Ryota approaches her. Himiko gazes at him in fear.